Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Let's go first to the surprise announcement from our Premier. The numbers in the House of Assembly are likely to be restored, increased by 10. Our political reporter Ainsley Kosh joins us to tell us more about the potential change. Ainsley, this came out of the blue. What's been the reaction and what happens next?
Good evening, Kim. The Premier's announcement has received bipartisan support from all sides of politics, many saying the current system places unnecessary pressure on ministers, some handling up to 4 or 5 portfolios each. Now, this would reverse the 1998 decision to cut back the size of Parliament to 25 sitting members and instead increase Parliament to 35 seats. Now, the Greens have been pushing this issue for some time. They'll be encouraging the Premier to draft legislation that retains the current system of 5 electorates with 7 members in each. A bill will be introduced later this year, and once passed it will come into effect in time for the 2025 state election. Meanwhile, Treasurer Michael Ferguson will give a sneak peek into his budget ahead of tomorrow, Kim. Holding the key to the state's coffers, Michael Ferguson is feeling optimistic ahead of handing down his first budget.
The budget that I bring down really has heart. It focuses on the things that are important to everyday Tasmanians.
Record investment for Tasmania's infrastructure pipeline and boosting housing supply among the key initiatives to be unveiled tomorrow.
I'll have some updated figures in the budget about the success of getting more land opened up so that it can be developed for housing.
The health sector has welcomed today's budget sneak peek of $150 million to boost digital technology.
From the GP to the ambulance to the ED department to the hospitals and then back to the GP, everything's going to be a lot smoother, a lot clearer.
$4.3 million will help 1,300 vulnerable Tasmanians be supported through the public trustee.
This money goes towards us providing improved services, and what we know is we need to be more responsive, more accessible and provide more of a personal approach.
While boosting the teacher workforce is high on the Education Union's wish list.
The Premier has previously said he wants our state to be the leader when it comes to education. Now that he's in charge, he's got the ability to make that happen.
The Treasurer has also hinted at record health and education spending, making up nearly 60% of the budget. But some have been quick to say that funding won't go far enough.
Premier, if your government's commitments over the last 9 budgets have failed to deliver improvements to health outcomes, how can you seriously expect people to believe that your 10th budget will?
No one can argue that we have not increased investment into our health system
Outcomes.
over the course of the last 8 years.
All will be revealed when the budget is handed down tomorrow. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's current health crisis is escalating, with the Launceston General Hospital experiencing high levels of demand. Those with non-life-threatening conditions are being encouraged to seek help from GPs, but they're facing lengthy wait times and rising costs.
It's a bleak reality for many Tasmanians seeking medical care, with our hospitals bursting at the seams. The Launceston General Hospital is the latest casualty in the state's health crisis.
They're just stretched, they're just over, they're just hammered. It's a 30-bed medical ward and a 25-seat emergency waiting room really going on up there. We just need more people and more staff there. We need support at that ED department and we need it now.
The Department of Health issued a call out to locals yesterday, encouraging people with non-life-threatening conditions to seek medical help from GPs.
At the LGH we have both increased significant acute demand, and we also have an outbreak of COVID that's occurring on our medical 5D ward.
8 patients and 2 staff members have tested positive to the virus, while the 5D medical ward has been closed to new admissions, impacting patient flow.
The challenge in terms of our surge capacity, the increase in demand, the challenges with Ward 5D in terms of the outbreak, and we're encouraging non-urgent care for patients, of course, to be delivered out in the community setting.
High demand is placing unprecedented pressure on our healthcare practitioners.
Our members at the moment are incredibly fatigued. They're working significant amounts of overtime and double shifts, and they're very concerned about the levels of vacancy.
Overworked nurses at the LGH are threatening to walk out in the coming weeks if action isn't taken. Meanwhile, overflow from Launceston's hospital is placing more pressure on our GPs.
We're busier than we ever have been. Certainly looking at the urgent care figures over the last 3 days, we're at least 50% up in numbers coming through.
Some doctors are reportedly booked out up to 9 weeks in advance. The lack of available appointments means longer wait times and serious health implications.
We're about 60 GPs short of what we need in Tasmania at the moment. It means we're more stressed and there's more burnout.
It's also a tough situation for those who can't afford a visit to the doctor, with bulk billing doctors dwindling. Many are hoping tomorrow's budget can bring some relief.
We really just need support across all aspects of health here. Launceston, it's been described as a great little hospital. It needs to be a great big hospital. We need more people, we need more resources.
McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
The man accused of murdering his former partner in Mornington late last year has had his case adjourned. Darren Wake had been expected to enter a plea in the Hobart Magistrates Court this morning. He's accused of stabbing Rachel Wake on Christmas Day. The midwife later died in hospital. His lawyers today asked for more time so they could receive and study a report. Mr Wake will face court again on June 20. The Hutchins school community has thrown its support behind hundreds of Tasmanian women who are struggling to enter the workforce. A large donation has been handed over to the Dress for Success initiative, helping overcome barriers into employment.
Setting out the school year under the theme of inclusion, these Hutchins prefects want just that.
We're surrounded by so many female people, role models, and people that we look up to, and just in the community. And I think it's super important to recognise that.
That ethos is the motivation behind a clothing drive to support the Dress for Success charity, helping all women, no matter their background, step into the workplace.
Really important and really empowering for women to be able to get out there and into the workforce and give them that opportunity.
I think that the boys here have got an opportunity to contribute in a values-based way to the future of women in our community.
A $1,000 cheque was handed over to complement the bags of garments that will transform the lives of Tasmanians, many of who are from culturally diverse backgrounds.
These funds will make all the difference to supporting the clients that come through our boutique. All of our services are free to the women that access our programs.
But the partnership extends beyond the schoolyard. Hutchins' parent and stylist Emma Petterwood bringing her background in fashion to the table.
We have put together 5 capsule wardrobes with 6 pieces each that the women can wear and interchange probably for a whole week worth of work or through the interview process.
$15,000 worth of sustainable clothing off the racks of her After 8 boutique and onto the backs of those who need it most.
I'm very passionate about helping women feel amazing through what they wear. So there was this beautiful alignment between our 3 brands, After 8, the Hutchins School and Dress for Success.
Despite an incredibly challenging time in the community over the last 2 years, the Dress for Success initiative still managed to change the lives of over 400 Tasmanian women.
Knowing that these pieces will go to someone who needs them and that will wear them just makes me so happy.
So proud of the students, they did such a great job, and I've been really impressed by the way they've embraced their theme of inclusion this year.
The senior campus is accepting items until this Friday. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmanian News.
Works from Australia's most talented artists will go on display in this year's Hadley's Art Prize. 35 artists from across the country today named as finalists for Australia's richest landscape competition. Tasmanians feature heavily in the field, with Belinda Casey, one of 13, looking to keep the title in its home state. Ms Casey's work reflecting on her Aboriginal heritage, which includes ancestor Fanny Cochrane-Smith.
So my painting is about those herb baskets and the baskets of my friends in the Aboriginal community and myself.
The winner will be announced on July 22. Witnessing the world's breaking news events live on TV would have been unthinkable when this station first went to air in 1962. In tonight's special feature, we're looking at how your news has changed over the past 60 years.
This will be followed at 6:45 by the latest news from the TNT9 newsroom.
And so began TNT9's very first news broadcast. The segment would run for just 15 minutes and had anchor Bruce Farrer reading stories cut straight from the newspaper. Locally shot footage would later join, including one of our earliest major exclusives, when TNT9 captured a crash landing at Launceston Airport, plus a gas explosion which rocked the streets and an inferno at department store Fitzgerald's.
The fire has gone right through the old building, which Fitzgerald's have occupied for about 8 years.
Before long, our coverage had spread to all corners of the state, from Hobart's tragic Black Tuesday bushfires to the opening of a new iron ore mine at Savage River and the national controversy surrounding Avoca's annual roo shoot. But newsreel from interstate or overseas still had to be flown in. In some cases, Tasmanians wouldn't see pictures until a week after they were taken. By the 80s, that time had reduced drastically, thanks to satellite technology.
Nine's news team presents the most up-to-date and comprehensive coverage of news from all parts of the state, together with the latest satellite stories from overseas, plus all the big ones that happen interstate.
Local news was also pushing ahead in leaps and bounds. Out went bulky film cameras, in came videotape, and a sharper news product at 6:30. Well, most of the time.
Good night, good evening. In tonight's news,
But getting tapes from the northwest coast to the studio wasn't so easy. It relied on old-fashioned goodwill from people driving to Launceston in what was known as the Pony Express.
We'd skid to the side of the road with the van side on so people could see who we were, and we'd try and flag traffic down to sort of say, look, can you take this to Launceston for us? And if you take it to the studio, there's $20 waiting for you there when you get there.
As the 90s ushered in the era of Southern Cross nightly news,
with Kay Wilkinson,
live crosses became more common, as did around-the-clock coverage of the world's biggest events. But in 1996, Southern Cross turned Tasmanian television convention on its head.
Southern Cross Nightly News will move, as of Monday, to the earlier time slot of 6 p.m,
making Southern Cross half an hour earlier than its rivals. This helped the station gradually gain ground in the commercial news ratings war. More fresh looks came in the new millennium. Along with one of the biggest stories in Tasmanian history.
From Australia, late today came word of an incredible rescue.
The Great Escape, which captivated the globe as Todd Russell and Brant Webb emerged from what they jokingly called their two-star hotel, creating a media frenzy in the Tamar town of Beaconsfield and a huge bar tab at the pub.
The whole town appeared to be there, well, almost everyone. Someone forgot to tell this man what was going on.
We have closed the news agency.
In 2011 came another news makeover.
This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
The last on the old set.
Joe, somebody's done a lot of work making that all look fresh and new. Pity they couldn't have done that for me.
I think they tried.
Before the antiquated control room was finally shut down after so many years of service, opening the door to a brand new home for 7 Tasmanian News in the same building, but a long way from where it all began. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmanian News. Basketball now, and Jack Jumpers forward Jared Bairstow will suit up for the Hobart Chargers in the NBL1. He won't be ready in time though for Friday night's game against Bendigo at Kingborough.
He's picked up a significant injury that'll keep him out until June 18th, so we get the break and then hopefully we'll be pretty close to a full squad by then.
Meanwhile, the Launceston Tornadoes are at serious risk of losing second spot on the table this weekend. The Tawns will be without sharpshooter Keely Frolling, who is away on Opal's duties. Michaela Bingley also needs to pass a fitness test with an injured thumb.
I think on paper we're definitely underdogs, but we are playing at home and that's always good for us. We play well at home. I think we'll have goals for the game.
Scott Roth is heading to the game at Elphin before making the trip to Ulverston to catch the Northwest Thunder on Saturday night. This monster wave at Shipstern Bluff could land Hobart's Mikey Brennan an international accolade. He's among 5 surfers in the running for Ride of the Year in the Red Bull Big Wave Awards. Brennan pulled off the ride back in March. Matthew Wade's Indian Premier League team is through to the final after going down to the wire against the Rajasthan Royals in Kolkata. Wade's Gujarat Titans needed 16 off the last over. David Miller started swinging.
Oh my goodness, he's been nicked first ball. Absolutely nicked. Slotsville disappears.
Miller smashed 2 more sixes in a row to drag the Titans into the final. They'll play the decider in the Narendra Modi Stadium, which can seat 132,000 people. Tasmania's new lawn bowls team, the Tridents, is on the up in the National League. The Tridents have won 6 of their 12 matches so far in the latest Bowls Premier League competition, eclipsing their performance in their inaugural BPL in February. The team is led by dual Commonwealth Games gold medalist Rebecca Van Ash.
Good evening. Not such a bad day for this time of year, was it? Hobart 15 today, Launceston, Burnie and Devonport all 17. Flinders Island and Smithton our top 18 degrees. King Island, Lowhead, Friendly Beaches and Strawn 17. St Helens 16. Ooze a top of just 6. And Lyawini the low, but twice as warm as the night before with a -5. Some scattered cloud over the north today, but mostly clear skies elsewhere. The fog seemed to hang around the Derwent Valley for a while longer today. Middle and high level cloud band is over the eastern states, while cloud associated with the trough is over South Australia and Western Victoria, convective cloud over northern Queensland. Tomorrow a trough lies over our northeast with another trough and cold front approaching. A high tracks over the western bight. Winds from a northeasterly direction and up to 20 to 30 knots over the west, swells at 1 metre or less. Strong wind warning for that area from Low Rocky Point to Stanley. A road weather alert for most forecast districts tomorrow, warning of slippery roads following the dry spell, and a frost warning too for the upper Derwent Valley. Hobart, 16 tomorrow with a shower or 2. Showers on the way for Cygnet, 16 the top, 2 overnight for New Norfolk, a shower and 15 degrees. 17 for Launceston with showers increasing, showery for Devonport, 16 the high and 15 for Campbelltown. Burnie much the same, 16 the top, 17 for Strawn, showers for Smithton as well, 16 the maximum. St Helens showery 17, 18 for Swansea, Fingal showers and 16. On Friday a few showers crossing over most regions again before contracting to the central and east. Showers over the north and west on Saturday, a possible shower elsewhere, and partly cloudy on Sunday with showers mostly over the north and west. A sunny 23 in Perth tomorrow, showers for Adelaide and Melbourne, partly cloudy, and 21 in Sydney, showers again in Brisbane. Clear in Hobart, it's 9 at the moment, 10 in Launceston, partly cloudy in Devonport and 11 degrees. I've got to say, Kim, I'm really loving our look back on the history of this station and the vignettes that we're showing, and the way you're getting involved too by wearing your outfits from a bygone era.
Go away. Good night, everybody. It's terrible.